One of the hot topics in the world today is animal rights. For many, many years, animals have been treated with terrible disrespect, with cruelty, abattoirs where there's no space, or areas where chickens are kept where they're not available to run around freely. So we have something now where we've got free-range chickens. What does the Torah say about this topic? And of course, we have the famous concept mentioned in the Talmud of tsar balei chaim, that a Jew is not allowed to cause pain and suffering to animals. But is there perhaps a hint to this in the Torah? And it seems to be in our parsha this week. The Torah says, "Shor roseh oto ve'et beno lo tishchatu b'yom echad," that if you have a cattle or if you have sheep and you slaughter a sheep or you slaughter a cow, you are not allowed to slaughter its young on the same day. You have to wait 24 hours until the next day before you can slaughter it. What is the rationale behind this mitzvah? And the great Rambam Maimonides tells us in his classical philosophical work, Moreh Nevuchim, the guide to the perplexed, as follows. He says that even dumb animals, such as cattle and sheep, have a certain type of a bonding with their young. It might not be the same type of emotional bonding that exists with human beings that they have with their children, but they still have this bond with their children. And therefore, it is very cruel to that animal to slaughter the young in the presence of the older animal, in the presence of the parent. And therefore, this has to be spaced out and cannot be done on the same day. Similarly, the Rambam speaks about another mitzvah that we read about elsewhere in the Torah, called Shiluach HaKan. The Torah tells us that if you're walking along, and there you come upon a bird's nest, and it's a kosher bird, it's a bird that we're allowed to eat, and you would like to take the eggs or the chicks to use for food. It says, Shaleach teshalach et ha'em. First you have to chase away the mother bird from the nest, and then you can take the chicks or you can take the eggs. What is the reason for this? Again, the Rambam says the same thing, because even though they're just birds, even though they're just dumb animals, but they feel this connection to their young. And therefore, it is an act of terrible cruelty to take the young from the presence of their parent. So it would seem that, at least according to the Rambam, we have this area of rights of animals, that animals have a certain degree of rights and they have the right not to be treated with cruelty. Comes along Ramban, Nachmanides, who lived just one generation after Maimonides, and he has a different take on this matter. And he says it's not exactly as the Rambam says it. It's not because the animals have rights, as it were, but it's the other way around. What the Torah is telling us by saying that you cannot slaughter a cow and its young on the same day, a sheep and its young on the same day, or you have to chase away the mother bird, is not because of the sake of the animal, but because of your sake. So that you should not become a cruel person. The emphasis is not on the animal, it's on you. Whether animals have rights or not is a completely moot point. And yes, according to Jewish law, there are certain times that animals may be treated with terrible cruelty. For example, let's say that the only way to find a cure for a disease is to do experiments on animals that will cause them a great deal of pain. There's no question that according to the Torah, that is completely allowed, because we go out of our way to save a life, even if it's going to cause suffering to another animal. So in that case, for sure, we can do it. It's not that animals have an intrinsic right, but what the Torah is telling us is that if you do these acts, if you take away that child in front of the mother, it's going to turn you into a cruel person. So these mitzvot is to train you to become a person of compassion. And indeed, the Talmud tells us that there are 3 signs that identify every single Jew. That we are by shanim, we're meant to be people who have a certain degree of shame, of self-effacement. We are gomlei chasadim, we are people who do kindness one to the other. And we are rachmanim, we are compassionate people. And the Talmud goes a step further, and it says that if you find a Jew who does not have these traits, they are not kind, they are not compassionate, they are not shamefaced and self-effacing, you can even bring their status into question. Are they in fact Jews? We are being taught here that we must be rachmanim. We must be compassionate. And it's interesting that the Talmud refers to Hashem consistently as Rachmana, the compassionate one. We have to emulate him and also become compassionate people and not cruel to anyone, human beings and animals. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.